After securing a new apartment for herself and her three children, Favor, a single mother, embarked on a mission to furnish their new home. Tragically, her husband had passed away in a fatal road accident a few months ago while returning from work. Previously, they had been residing in an estate, but the high cost of the house rent forced Favor to seek alternative options for her family. With limited funds in her bank account, Favor diligently searched for affordable second-hand furniture, as brand new items were simply too expensive. One fateful evening, as she was returning from the market, she came across a signpost advertising a bed for sale at a shockingly low price of 10,000 naira. In the middle of a harsh economic climate, Favor was shocked by the low cost. Without hesitation, she approached the bed owner and called for his attention to purchase it. After she had completed the cash transaction, she eagerly arranged for a wheelbarrow pusher to transport the bed to her new apartment, happily thinking to herself, I have budgeted 20,000 naira for a bed though, but since this one is well below that price, I can use the remaining money for essential foodstuffs. Her face beamed with joy, unaware of the evil secret behind the bed she had just bought. John, who had died of depression and was buried a few months ago, happens to be the owner of the bed. His brother went ahead in selling all of his properties at affordable prices. They had sold the bed to one Mr. Anthony, who based in selling furniture. Mr. Anthony, in need of cash, decided to sell it off at a cheaper price. Favor brought the bed back home, placed it in her room, waiting for the night to sleep in it with her children. They had been sleeping on a mat, but since she has gotten a new bed, they were going to sleep on the bed tonight. As darkness fell, Favor made sure to prepare some food for her children, ensuring they were well fed before they all went to bed. She switched off the light, gently covered all of her children with a comfortable blanket, and soon found herself drifting up to sleep as well. In the middle of the night, Adobe, Favor's eldest child, suddenly awoke to the touch of a scary hand. Initially thinking it was her mother, Adobe soon opened her eyes to a terrifying sight. A figure dressed in white blood streaming from its eyes and teeth resembling those of a vampire. Crippled with fear, Adobe attempted to scream, but the frightening figure forcefully silenced her, forcibly removing her from the safety of her room. Dragged continuously, Adobe was taken to a quiet store in front of their building, where her life was brutally and heartlessly taken from her. Desperately crying, Adobe's final moments were filled with pains as the evil figure tortured her before eventually strangling her to her untimely death. Completing this evil act, the figure suddenly vanished without a trace, leaving Adobe's lifeless body abandoned at the entrance of the store. In the early hours of the morning, Favor was roused from her slumber by a knock at her door. Opening it, she was met by the woman who sold groceries in the neighboring building. Concerned, Favor inquired about the purpose of the visit. Madam, why have you come to my house so early? Is everything all right? She questioned with a mix of curiosity and worry. The woman proceeded to inform Favor of the tragic discovery, describing the lifeless body of her daughter lying in front of the building. Favor couldn't believe what she was hearing. What are you saying? My daughter is inside, she retorted, rushing to the bed in search of Adobe. When Adobe was nowhere to be found, panic consumed Favor, and she rushed out of the house to confirm the unimaginable news. Standing there, shattered and pained, stood her once vibrant and beloved daughter, lifeless with blood flowing endlessly. How could this have happened? Favor questions, left without any answer. The neighbors were in disbelief when they learned that Favor was murderer. They questioned how she could not have known that her daughter was not with her, and some even called for her immediate arrest. The police officers wasted no time in apprehending Favor, suspecting that greed may have driven her to commit such an evil crime. Locked up in the police cell, Favor desperately tried to prove her innocence, but her efforts were in vain. She searched and reached out to her late husband's former lawyer, pleading for help over the phone provided to her by the police officers. After a struggle, the lawyer managed to secure a bail for Favor. It was agreed that she will go home and take care of her two remaining children while the investigation continued to find the real murderer. However, the night was filled with unbearable pain for Favor. The pain of losing a child made it impossible for her to sleep, and she cried uncontrollably until tiredness gripped and she finally slept off. It was at the middle of the night. Same scary figure returned that night, snatching her youngest child, Sarah, from the safety of their home. Just like he had brutally ended Adobe's life, he tortured Sarah before ruthlessly taking her life away forever. Morning arrived, and the police officers, angered by the report of another murdered child, stormed Favor's doorstep, accusing her of being a child killer. They handcuffed her and forcefully dragged her out of her house. Favor was confused by the charges against her until she saw her beloved daughter's lifeless body lying in the same spot where Adobe's dead body had been discovered. The pain flooded her as she cried and screamed, but the determined police officers remained unchanging in their decision to imprison her. Once again, Favor found herself locked up, awaiting a trial that could result in a lifetime behind bars or even her own death. Throughout her time in the police cell, Favor cried endlessly, consumed by the saddening burden of losing both of her children within a space of 2 days. The pain she felt was unbearable, and she desperately pleaded with police officers, "Please, sir, can you give me the phone so that I can call my younger sister? I need her to stay with my last child for now. I can't bear the thought of leaving him all alone." Her voice filled with desperation as she begged for their assistance. "As if you truly care for him, soon enough you will bring upon him the same fate as others," one of the cold-hearted officers replied, angrily handing over the cell phone to Favor. Despite their harsh words, she knew that her only hope lay with her sister, Joy. After narrating her painful experience, Joy willingly agreed to spend the night and keep watch over the little boy. But as darkness descended upon them once again, the terrifying spirit didn't target the young boy this time. Instead, it set its sights on Joy, leaving minds questioning the reason behind his selective murder towards the girls. Dragging Joy outside, the spirit silenced her cries before subjecting her to unimaginable torment. In the end, it mercilessly stole Joy's precious life, leaving her lifeless in front of the shop, just like its previous victims. Witnessing this horrifying event, people were left in a state of shock, realizing that this evil force was far from ordinary. "I don't believe Favor is responsible for these tragedies. After all, she's locked up at the police station," one woman stated, her voice shaking. "Are you suggesting she might be a witch?" a voice from the crowd questioned, fueling suspicions and further worsening an already bad situation. Upon hearing the tragic news, Favor felt a sense of loss. She couldn't understand why death consistently took away everything precious to her. Her sorrow seemed endless as she cried uncontrollably, her heart breaking for the loss she had endured. Sensing her innocence, the police officers made the decision to release her, advising her to seek spiritual guidance as they acknowledged the seriousness of the situation. Favor made her way home, carrying her son tightly and leaving behind everything within the confines of the house. Determined to find a possible solution to the evil that befell her family, she embarked on a quest for answers. The weight of grief and fear accompanied by her every step, but she refused to let them off the thought of hope that she still burned deep within her soul. As Favor roamed the streets, searching for a place to rest her tired head, Fate introduced her to a man dressed in a shiny black suit. He kindly offered his help to her and her son. Considering the recent events that had taken place in her life, Favor initially rejected the man's help. However, he constantly insisted until she unwillingly accepted his offer. In her heart, tears pouring down her cheeks, Favor wondered the uselessness of trying to save a life that was already wounded and hurt. Nevertheless, she followed the man's direction and was taken unawares when she realized that the person she had been talking to was a pastor. Her shock made her to plead for his help. Falling on her knees on the ground, the kind-hearted pastor held her hands, lifted her son from her arms, and led them through the busy street towards his church. Once inside his office, he kindly offered her a seat, and together they went on a prayerful journey. As their conversation unfolded, the pastor revealed that their meeting had been planned by God. He explained that Favor may have thought that her problem was a divine punishment from God or the evil actions of an enemy, but he sorrowfully informed her that she had brought this trouble upon herself. Concerned, Favor pressed for an explanation, eager to understand her role in her own suffering. The pastor explained that the day she purchased a certain bed and brought it into her home, unknowingly she invited the spirit of a restless soul. This bed had once belonged to a young man named John, whose life had been afflicted by betrayal and heartbreak. His own brother had stolen his girlfriend, rubbing salt in the wound by sending him their wedding invitation. To add insult to injury, several of John's friends supported their relationship, further fueling his pains. Dumbfounded by shame and consumed by depression, John could bear it no longer. In the comfort of his bed, he added poison to his food, bringing an end to his tormented existence. Sadly, John's restless soul continued to disturb the bed. Fueled by greed and the need for cash, his brother heartlessly sold all of John's possessions to get money for his upcoming wedding, adding more anger to John's restless spirit. The pastor shook his head in pity. One who brings a wood filled with ants is unknowingly sending an invite to the lizard. He said in pity. With heavy hearts, they decided that the only solution was to burn the cursed bed to ashes, thus stopping this evil. After concluding their prayerful session, Favor and the pastor went back to her apartment. They set the bed on fire, watching as the fire devoured the evil bed and reduced it to ashes. The pastor, ever the guiding light, offered further consolation and assistance. He prayed over the room, providing Favor with financial help to directly order a new bed from the company and assisting her in her journey to rebuilding her life. Though Favor's life began to mend, healing the wounds inflicted by the past, she couldn't help but shed endless tears for the loss of her two children and her sister. Remembering her experiences, she took her head and shook it, realizing the importance of being careful about the objects we bring into our homes and the unexpected consequences they may carry. I've come to the end of this story. I hope you did enjoy it. What a wonderful story that's teaching us a life lesson. It's not everything you see on the road that you bring to your home and buy it or purchase it. If this is the first time of stumbling to my channel, you're highly welcome. Please don't forget to click on the subscribe button and turn on your bell button to get latest updates. For my returning subscribers,